Hey y'all, it's been so long, but I'm back with an Oro Rosa pattern, and it is the Brentwood backpack. This thing is so cute. It's got some pleats in the front. It has a slip pocket here, but inside the slip pocket there's another zipper pocket. And then you open up the compartment and you've got a slip pocket and a zipper pocket inside as well. And then on the back, you also have a slip pocket and a zipper pocket, just like the front. Get these cute side details. And you can convert this to a crossbody bag. So I'm gonna wear it as a backpack real quick. See how cute? And then you can just pull your strap by the handle cover and convert it to a crossbody, like so. I did not adjust my sliders yet, but you get the point. This is super fun. I love this sewing. The bottom is bound and it's super cute. So let's get to sewing the Brentwood backpack from Oro Rosa. Okay friends, I've got all the beginning pieces right here. So my strap, which I'm gonna make a double fold solid strap. So the instructions for mine will be just a little bit different, but I'll still show you what you're supposed to do. So I have both straps marked and double-sided tape down the center, the connectors, the side pieces, the handle cover, and the handle. So we're going to start with the connector pieces. So we'll go ahead and remove our tape, fold our raw edges into that line we drew earlier. You should still be able to see it underneath your interfacing. We're going to repeat on the next one. And then for your connectors, go ahead and measure up 1 inch and make a mark on each side. And then 1/8 of an inch from each edge. You really don't have to mark this if you don't want. After we mark these, we'll draw a line from the edge of that 1 inch mark down to the edge of that 1/8 inch mark. So you'll have a diagonal, and we're just going to trim that off. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side and the other one. Then we're going to go to the handle and make a mark 1 inch up and 1 inch in. Then we'll connect those lines and trim that off as well. And we'll repeat on all 4 sides. Then we'll fold our edges in, just like we did on the handle connectors, just for the side bits. So this is what your side detail will look like. And you'll just take that double-sided tape off again. You're going to fold that angled edge all the way up to your line you drew earlier on both sides. Then the same thing for the rest of it, so it should taper in at the end like this. Repeat for your other one, and then like I said with the handle, we're going to do the same thing on each end. And And then instead of just folding it into the center, you don't have to taper this one. Then you'll go ahead and fold that all the way in on itself. So you just have some reduced bulk down there at the bottom. Okay, and then for the straps, you're going to remove your double-sided tape and fold your raw edges to the center. You'll do that all the way down with all 4 straps. You'll only fold them to the center. After you fold them to the center, you're going to go ahead and run another strip of double-sided tape right over the top of your line you drew earlier. But only do it on 2 of the straps. So let's pretend here, because my straps are a little bit different. You'll take the other one and fold it in. Then run your piece of double-sided tape. And then you're going to put this on top. And then we'll stitch down these edges at 1/4 inch. This would be a really good spot to use webbing instead of 4 straps. You could do 2 straps, 2 pieces of webbing, and the webbing can go on the back side of the strap. Okay, there's one more angled edge. So you've got your marks made so far. You're going to line up the center of 1/2 inch for me, going at an angle, and I'm just going to draw a line across. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Make sure everything intersects. Then we'll trim that edge just like we did before. Peel your double-sided tape off. And then we're going to fold our edges in to meet our stabilizer. So just up to that stabilizer. You're going to repeat with all 3 sides. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine with all of these pieces. I'm going to begin with the side detail and top stitch at 1/8 inch. I'll also do the connectors. I'll go ahead and do the other sides and then come back for the strap. Okay, so remember your strap, if you're doing the 2-tone like written in the pattern, is going to be sewn at 1/4 inch. You're going to do that for both straps. Because I have a single fold, well, a double fold strap that's solid, I'm going to go ahead and match my handle strap and do 2 lines of stitching. So one's at 1/8 inch and I'll do one at 3/8 inch. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and do 1/8 inch all the way around the 3 folded edges. Let's finish up the strap and we'll move on to the handle. Okay, so you want your 2 straps to be butt up to each other. For me, I wanted both back sides showing, so make sure you do that. And then we're going to run a strip of double-sided tape between the 2. It's going to be 4 inches long altogether. So I'm just going to start with 2 inches. Make sure that's butt all the way up to each other and carry on for another 2 inches. We're going to want to sew right around the outside of that, in between the stitch marks. So I'm going to do 1/4 inch around. Okay, so I'm starting just into that second strap at 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to back stitch and we'll go get the handle cover. Okay, with your double-sided tape side up, we're going to match the center of our strap to the center of our handle cover. I'm just going to fold it and make a little mark. Now we're just going to match it up to the mark we made earlier, which means there's going to be a little bit of overhang here. Then we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to sew, I'm going to sew from where that hangs over, where that folds over and meets up, from here all the way across to where it meets there, down and back around. Okay, well, I didn't pay attention very well. This side was supposed to go against the Decaville light, but I've already got it on there, so I'm just gonna go with it and remove my double-sided tape, wrap this over tightly, and then wrap it around like that. Go ahead and grab your super glue. I like using this Gorilla super glue gel. We are going to go ahead and run the gel right along this stitch line here, and tightly roll this over, and then clip and back to the handle and a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Then we're going to measure and mark according to the pattern and sew at an 1/8 of an inch. I'll start somewhere in between the 2, 3 3/4 marks and use that 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to back stitch at the beginning or the end here, just a couple stitches, very neatly. So by very neatly, I mean I'm going to stitch right into the holes we already made. So I'm going to go over them 2 stitches and back 2 stitches. See the back stitching just a bit? Go ahead and put 2 rectangle rings on your handle. After you've divided everything into packs, grab your back panel and make a mark at the half, and make sure you have your 2 rectangle rings on your handle. Then you're going to measure 2 inches to the left of your center mark and to the right. Make sure those lines are 2 inches long. We're going to put a strip of double-sided tape 2.5 inches long onto the back side of the handle on both ends. Then we'll just go ahead and remove that tape, and we'll put this strap on the outside of the lines that we drew earlier, making sure your strap isn't twisted. Remove the other piece of double-sided tape and lay it on the outside. Make sure your folded edge is towards the center line, and make sure you have your rectangle rings on there for one last time. Now we're going to stitch at an 1/8 of an inch up across our other marked line and back down. And then repeat on the other side. All right, go ahead and move your rectangle rings all the way down and make a mark 1/4 inch below the top stitch line. And this is where we're going to put a rivet. Depending on your material thickness and your rivet and whatever, you might need to put a piece of foam or Decaville Heavy or Peltex behind your screw or rivet. Go ahead and grab your main lower pocket lining and your 8.5 inch zipper. Find the centers of both and lay them with your zipper tape right side up and your pocket right side up. And we're going to base that at an 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to repeat for the opposite end of our pocket. Okay, grab your main lower panel and your top edge. You want, if you have directional fabric, the side that's upside down is going to go against this piece. So you put it right sides together like so, and then we're going to stitch across. Go ahead and use a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I've got canvas, so I'm going to use a 3.5 stitch length. If your iron isn't warm, go ahead and do that now. We're going to separate our zipper, and we're going to press our lining away from the zipper. And then we'll fold it back. And if you use something that you can press with an iron, you can totally press here. Otherwise, just finger press. And then we're going to top stitch across the top. Okay, go ahead and grab your top main panel. Take that raw zipper edge and line it up. And then we'll stitch across with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure this is right sides together. I'm going to sew with my top panel up, a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and a 3.5 stitch length. If you're doing the front panel, like I accidentally am doing, go ahead and trim off your seam allowance on your exterior side. Then you'll go ahead and fold this up and press it with the lining staying down. And we're going to top stitch along the top panel. Go ahead and install your zipper and reinstall it so both zipper ends are closed. Flip your exterior lower panel out of the way, and we're going to sew down these two sides right here, starting right after that zipper tape. Okay, again, this is a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Go ahead and trim your seam allowance down and repeat for the other side. Okay, so this is your finished front panel. Now for the back panel, you're going to do the exact same thing, except for top stitching along here. You're going to top stitch along the zipper pocket. I'll show you that part when I get to it. Okay, then the lining is going to be done the same way as the front was done. Okay, it's basted to the zipper pocket lining. I'll grab the lower pocket and sew that on right sides together. Okay, everything's pushed away and top stitched towards the bottom. We're gonna put the raw edge right sides together with the top lining panel and sew at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, now I'm gonna put my zipper on after I've top stitched the top panel. And then we'll flip this up out of the way and stitch down both sides of the lining. Go ahead and get your slip pocket, fold it in half, right sides together, and we're going to stitch across just the top. Okay, go ahead and turn that right side out. That seam is going to go towards the back, 1/8 of an inch up from the bottom. So I'm going to press that real quick, figure out which side I like on my directional. Okay, I'm going to cheat a little and put my seam at the top because that makes my door right side up and it's bothering me that it's not the correct way. So I'm going to top stitch across that and be back. After you have it top stitched, line up your pocket where she says to on your lining panel, and then we'll baste all three sides. Okay, go ahead and grab your zipper and your exterior front panel, and we're going to lay the zipper on, overlapping a little bit, right sides together, not overlapping, hanging over the edge a little bit, right sides together, and we're going to baste this on all the way around this top edge. Okay, grab your slip pocket lining side, mark the center and mark the center of your zipper, and then go ahead and match those centers and clip it on. And then go ahead and clip the rest of the way around. And then we'll go sew this on with your top panel right side up, 3.5 stitch length and a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and remove these basting stitches that we put in there already, all the way around, and then trim that exterior piece. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn this right side out. Poke out all your curves. You can use a turning tool or a chopstick or your fingers. It really doesn't matter. Just get it all pushed out. You can even press this on the inside if you want. And then we're going to go top stitch that folded edge. This is what the front panel looks like. Then go ahead and repeat with the back panel. And then when you're top stitching, make sure you add your second row of stitching. Okay, I've got my back panel done, but I wanted to show you all a little tidbit here. This is supposed to lay flat when you sew your pockets shut. So make sure you push this zipper flat. It's going to try to come and be like a three-dimensional pocket like that. You want it all the way flat. And then as a reminder, you're not top stitching on the top panel. You're going to top stitch on the lining. See my stitching in there? Probably not, but it's in there. Alright, now that we have our lining combined with our exterior, we're going to mess with these darts. First, go ahead and open up your lining away from your exterior. So pretty much turning it back right side out. I'll start with the lining side, and we're going to clip these darts together. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. And then these little darts meet up right here. And I'm going to take my ruler and make a mark 1 inch above where that darted edge ends. There we go. 1 inch above it. While keeping it pinched where I want it. Now that's going to be our stop sewing mark. So we'll repeat on the other side. We'll do that on the other piece too with the lining. And we can do then the exterior. Make a mark when you get to the top, 1 inch above. That way all your darts are the same height. Make sure your zipper stays flat. On this back piece, that's going to mean this little lip right here is going to fold over just a tiny bit. Goes right past my zipper teeth on mine. Clip all the way up and make your inch mark. We're going to go ahead and repeat that on the other exterior side here, and then the exterior the other exterior, and then we'll come to the machine. Okay, I'm going to start on the exterior side. I'm going to have the top panel looking up at me. We're going to sew with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and a 3.5 or 4 stitch length. Okay, I'm going to show you this once more on the exterior side. I'm on the top panel is facing up at me. The lining is right here. 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so here's an up close of that. And you're going to do the same thing on the lining side, except after you start at 3/8, you're going to increase to 1/2 inch, and you do a 1/2 inch all the way up. But start at 3/8 at your bottom. Okay, here's the 3/8 I'm starting at. And I'm going to increase to a 1/2 inch now. It's been about 1.5 inches probably. Make sure your zippers are staying flat and you're curving with your dart. Here's an up close of that. and then we'll repeat for the rest of them. So all 4 of my seams are sewn. I'm going to turn this right side out, push out our darts. Here we go. We're going to repeat with the other one, and then we're going to add our zipper pulls. I went ahead and pressed these from the wrong side because I have faux suede. So I just pressed them from the lining side. Really good. So they look smoother on the front side. We're going to go ahead and trim the ends of our zipper tape. We're going to trim the ends of our zipper tape on all 4 sides, I guess. And then I'm going to go ahead and burn my ends to make sure they don't unravel later. Okay, we're going to put the panels facing away from us so we can work with the round side of our zipper. Place it on the left hand side and then on the right side. You want to make sure your zipper ends match up when you get the pull on, and zip it up. Almost all the way to the other side. And then you want to match these ones and put the pull on. Both pulls are on. We're going to move each one up about 2 inches from the edge. And then we're going to turn this wrong side out. I'm going to clip down at the bottom just so my pulls don't come off, just in case. They shouldn't, but just in case. Okay, go ahead and grab your exterior pocket front and back and both their lining pieces. I marked the center on the top and the bottom of all 4 pieces, and I installed my tag. Then we're going to take our right side of our lining and put it right sides together with the exterior, making sure you put your directional fabric towards the top, and the top is actually the lower side on the stabilizer. So then we'll take both of these to the machine and we'll sew across at 3/8 of an inch. Okay, we'll go ahead and sew across. I'm using a 3.5 and a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to go ahead and repeat with the back, making sure the directional fabric's at the top and we're at the lower side. Before we top stitch, I'm going to cut the lining down. So it'll look like that now. Open that and press it flat, and we're going to top stitch on this lining side. We've got a 5.5 stitch length and an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're going to do this on the back and the front. All right, I went ahead and marked 1.25 inches up for my connectors. I'm going to take my connector and slide my rectangle ring on it and fold it in half. And then you want it to face up towards the top, line up flush. So we'll clip that on and do the same thing on the other side. We're going to base that on, and you can use 2 stitch lines if you'd like. On both connectors, we're going to measure in 3/4 of an inch and make a mark, punch a hole, and then leave it. Do not install the rivet yet. We're going to do that on both sides. After that, you're going to come to the back side of both of your front and backs. Oops, sorry. And trim that seam allowance down just a bit so you can take out some more bulk. On the back side too. Now that that's done, we're going to take the back panel and put it on to the front panel. Well, these are exterior pockets. We're going to line them up, right sides together, and clip them. We're going to sew a 1/2 inch, come down to 3/8 of an inch, and then go back up to 1/2 an inch. Okay, I'll tell you again while we're sewing. Okay, we're going to start with a 1/2 inch. I'm going to start decreasing to 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to go back up to 1/2 an inch. You can go ahead and trim this down. We're going to leave about 1 inch of no trimming right in this area. And then we're going to skip trimming the connectors. And then you can go ahead and repeat on the other side. Okay, this is all sewn up, so we'll go ahead and turn it right side out. And then you're going to fold that exterior side down over that stabilizer. So you're going to have some of the exterior on the inside and some on the exterior, of course. I like to press that so it's nice and smooth. You can even use some rubber tipped pliers to squash your seam allowance if you would like on both parts. And then we'll go top stitch. I prefer to top stitch with the lining side out. I'm going to top stitch around starting in one of my seams. I'm going to use a 5.5 stitch length on this faux suede. I'm just going to go ahead and back stitch. I'm just going to skip around here a little bit. Since I already have my lining right side out, I'm going to baste around this bottom opening now. Now, because mine is wrong side out, I am just going to push things out of the way. I'm just going to mark some rivet dots using the measurements she gave me, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there's my 4 markings. I'm going to go to the other side and make my marks on the front panel, not the back, and we'll have a total of 8. Now switch back to your exterior body and baste around the bottom of this as well, keeping it open so you have a whole loop. But make sure you tuck your pockets out of the way first on both sides. Okay, I'm going to have my exterior pocket and my bag body right here. I'm going to make sure I have the handle side and my back, and I'm going to slide this in. This lining side is going to touch my exterior side. And we're going to get that down to the bottom and then flip around. After we match up the 2 center markings, we can clip everything else in. Okay, let's go ahead and baste that bottom opening. Okay, so we're going to take our bottom panel and our bottom panel lining and put them wrong sides together and baste it around. I added feet. Okay, my centers have been marked, and we're going to go ahead and insert our base, matching up our centers, and then ease everything in. And add some staples around your curves if you'd like. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a 3.5 or 4 stitch length. Let's go ahead and put the binding on. Just open your binding up, fold it in towards itself, and start at a middle mark and clip this on. And then I'll just clip one more time. And I'm gonna take it to the machine and sew it on. Okay, I'm gonna start sewing my binding on. I'm gonna use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and a 4 stitch length. Okay, so now that that's all sewn around, I trimmed my threads and we'll fold this over. We're going to top stitch at a 5 all the way around going into the curve. Go ahead and turn this right side out. Let's mark our rivet holes. We're going to start with the 2 right next to the zipper. So go ahead and open that up a little bit. I'm going to do this left-handed and push these flat together. And then make your mark through each one. And you'll do that on the other side as well. And you'll punch your rivet holes through your pocket and your body and install your rivets. Grab your 2 side detail pieces. I'm going to make a mark 2 inches in on the wrong side from each short edge of each one of these. And then I am going to grab a piece of double-sided tape that is 1 inch long and put it on each end. Okay, so we'll take the double-sided tape off of each end and we're going to fold it up to that mark we made. And then make a mark 1/4 inch away from the folded edge in the center. And we're going to repeat that 3 more times. Then go ahead and punch holes in both of those markings. And we're going to install our rivets in the last 2 holes. Okay, so you'll want your post side to go through your side detail. And then you're going to put it right through your hole here. And then we'll screw or rivet on our side detail right through this front pocket only. Now that you have that side on, go ahead and repeat with the other side of the side detail piece. And then you're going to repeat on the opposite side as well. Go ahead and turn to the back of your bag and grab your strap. And I'm going to put the folded side underneath. So I'm going to make sure my straps are going the correct direction for that. I'm going to slip 1 raw edge through the top of the rectangle ring on one side. And then I'm going to make sure my strap isn't twisted and slip it the other raw edge down through the other rectangle ring on the top. Then we're going to grab our strap slide, and I like that open part down there to be on the bottom, so I'm going to keep that on the bottom side, take my raw edge, feed it up and over that sliding bar, back down through the bottom. I'm going to leave a loop open there. Go to the bottom rectangle ring, making sure my strap isn't twisted. Come from the outside in. Then what you'll do here is make sure your strap isn't twisted. Come back to the top of your slider, pull up and back over that slide adjuster. You want to fold it over about 1.5 inches, and then you'll make a mark 1 inch away from the edge, put on your rivet, and then you'll repeat for the other side, and you can add your strap end on now if you'd like. I just realized I never told y'all to put rivets right there. So if you can, put your rivet right there. And your bag is complete. You did it, y'all. And she is so pretty. I hope you had fun. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully it won't be as long. Bye.